We're not waiting for better recorders anymore. We're actually waiting for assistance. This is the Fieldy 3, and within a few minutes of getting the product, I knew exactly what this video was going to be about. This isn't like a typical product upgrade cycle. This is definitely a new piece of hardware which they've shipped, and it seems like progress, but it's not necessarily the kind of progress which would help us in our day to day. I'm not trying to replace part of my brain or part of my team, but rather augment myself and make sure that I can actually get more done in the same amount of time because things are moving incredibly fast. So let's start with what's actually new. So this piece of hardware is the new bit that they've done. They've given us this new pendant which is available. You can actually pull this actual Fieldy device out of this pendant and put this in a format which allows you to wear it as a watch on your wrist, also as a wrist strap. That was one of my biggest complaints from the previous iteration of Fieldy, which had no real way of actually you wearing it besides a necklace. And it felt out of place when you had it on. But the new Fieldy hardware actually feels a lot more premium and is probably what they want it to be. This feels like a product which I could wear every day. And I have been wearing for the past week and a half. Honestly, I think the hardware is great. They claim that they have a 10-day battery life and they have offline memory on this, especially with this capability of switching between wearing it as a necklace or as a wristband. I think that's preferable because now I have options to wear it. The one thing which I am still debating, it reminds me of the iPhone 7 Jet Black, which had this shiny look and feel, but it ended up scratching all the time. And even though it looks premium, I'm scared that I will scratch it and it won't look that nice. On the battery life, they claim that it's 10 days, but in my usage, I've only seen a maximum of 4 to 5 days of battery life, and I use it all the time. Assume 10 to 12 hours of this turning on and recording and just continuing on with your life. It's probably 50% of what they claim. I don't know if they tested or they assume that we would just have it on for 4 to 5 hours every day. Even with that 4 to 5 days, you still forget about the battery life and you don't really have to worry about it. The app just reminds you when the battery is low, and you can just put this to charge using the included USB-C cable. And the microphones seem to be in the right place now. Instead of behind the device, now they're in front, so you can actually capture more audio from you and your surroundings. So if you look at just the hardware, it feels like that this is what Fieldy 1 should have been. And it's taken them a few iterations to get here, but I'm glad that they have figured out what the hardware should be. Now let's talk about the software. That's the piece that actually I care about. It has the exact same memory that we saw last time. It has the exact same calendar view, which shows me all of my days. It has the exact same detail view with the transcript and the summary of the memory. And it has the exact same task management where I can swipe left and I can swipe right to either accept or dismiss tasks. It has the same integration with Apple Reminders or Google Tasks, and also has the exact same chat. Last time, my gripe with the app experience was just one of those things where I wanted different chat experiences for every single day, or I could just clean up the context and start fresh. But they've not even included that in this app. Well, granted, they've added support for 100 new languages. One of the things which I was using from the previous app experience was the webhook for extracting all of my transcripts. There are no new APIs. There is no new developer documentation that's available for us to now actually integrate with Fieldy. And that's where the problem starts. Everyone is trying to do these workflows and automated agents and assistants. We've seen OpenClaw, we've seen NemoClaw, we've seen human pods, even AI. Everyone's trying to actually get the job done for you. And Fieldy is sitting at a place where they have this ambient recorder and listener, which is also real time. And they have this opportunity for me to actually push things into different systems right from my wrist or right from my neck. And they haven't actually built any of those workflows around, not even enable the APIs for me to actually build the workflows for myself. Don't get me wrong, it still does the things that it does very well. And to be fair, I'm sure that they're a small team. They did actually release a Mac app which mimics exactly the same things which you have on the mobile app. The one thing to note that the Mac app can also transcribe any of the audio which is running on your Mac, so you don't really have to have a bot join your meeting. It can actually transcribe directly from the system audio, so that's a good thing. And because they have a consolidated feed, you don't need to switch back and forth between the mobile app and the desktop app. You can just look at one app. However, again, then it feels like a half baked experience because it's not following the exact same styles of the mobile app experience. It feels like they've tried to build it as a native Mac app, but then forgotten that they could actually bring in context from the event that they were looking at, from the calendar, and also look at recurring events, try and build that sort of pre-meeting notes, prepare me for the meeting that's coming up by taking in what was decided last time and then showing me some of that detail. This is still for people who are either in meetings all day, founders like myself, journalists, anyone who wants to keep track of what's going on around them and then come back to it. Obviously, you need to figure out what your legal situation is and the area you're in, and if you're legally allowed to record someone or not, with or without consent. I think that's something which you need to figure out before you put this on and you start recording. In this AI space, software is the true product. The hardware is definitely nice, and hardware is difficult to do. But now that they've figured this out, they actually figured it out in the previous version. And with the acquisition of Limitless, there's such a huge opportunity for people to come in and solve for this space. I know that Omi was trying to do this, and they actually ended up implementing a lot of things on their software side. They now support the Limitless pendant, and they want to support all other pendants, all other hardware also. I like the team. I like the product. I feel like there's so much opportunity for them to do more, but somehow they're not able to fill that gap and actually move forward as fast as what the community is asking them to. People want to use their product, but somehow the Fieldy team has not actually been able to support them in this process. The Limitless was acquired, the B was acquired. This market is clearly consolidating. So, what happens to Fieldy? Do they stay independent and continue to work on the software? Do they raise more money and then try and figure out how to have a growth strategy? Or do they get acquired? I feel like if they get acquired, it's going to be such a loss. I know, I mean, Even is trying to do something similar with Conversate and other similar features, but I think having a dedicated recorder for your meetings is so helpful. The Feely has an incredible opportunity to be the ambient AI solution which we are looking for. I don't need this to talk back to me. I just need this to be available and present and then do the things as I'm thinking out loud. I don't need it to tell me things, I just need it to do the things. Honestly, the Fieldy 3 is a better device. It's not a better product. I'm curious to see what they will do next. I'm excited to see what's coming up. And I hope that they take some advice and focus on the software to give us the final experience that we've all been waiting for.